Today we're having some of a Chateau Cantenac Brown 1996. This has a little bit of a story to it. It was given to me by someone who knew I really liked Cantenac Brown. And so I decided to open it yesterday. And since 96 is also the birth date, the birth year of my daughter, she joined me to have some, impressions and feedback on this wine. It was, it was sort of interesting because I did not expect it to be super good because, 96 is not a year that was supposed to keep this long unless you're talking about the really top wines. But anyway, we opened it, we tasted it, and, there was some really interesting bits to it, like some prune, which is maybe traditional. My daughter was able to detect some apple, which I couldn't, but I mean, again, their palate is a lot more sensitive than ours. But it was also a little bit closed in. It had some sort of unpleasant, kind of closed in and musty bouquet, and also was very short in terms of finish. I gave the person who gave it to me, I gave him that feedback. I don't think he was very impressed with my honesty. But anyway, we're gonna taste it again today, see how it has evolved, and see whether we can draw any conclusions from that. So here we go. The color is really brick, and that's very, of course, usual with old Bordeaux's. After a certain point, it just becomes more brick than red. I don't know if you can see it, but you've got to take my word for it, and I'm sure you can believe me because you've seen that. The bouquet has sort of, the fruits have maybe mellowed out a little bit, and the mustiness has too. So overall, I'd say it's a little bit more approachable from that friendliness point of view. But it's still, to me, it still feels like it's been, maybe it's a little over the hill, which doesn't bother me at all, because every wine has a story at every stage of its evolution, at least in my opinion. Well, we're gonna just try it and see. I think some of that unfriendliness is still here, but it is actually, the bitterness has gone away. It's still not necessarily very long. It doesn't have much length on the finish, but it's very pleasant. And I think if I were eating something with it, it would be really even better. And so this is a good bottle of wine, and I'm gonna go back and give them this additional feedback. Anyway, a couple of things. I thought this was an interesting story, and maybe a few things to take away with that. One is wine, is going to evolve for 24, 48 hours, and especially if you have a bottle from a good vintage, from a good producer, there's going to be a lot to it. So don't give up on it, and don't just think, oh, this is terrible, or oh, this is okay. You don't know. You may be surprised positively or negatively the next day. Another thing is, a wine can be drunk over a few days, and it will keep, especially if you have one of these, vacuum in corks to reseal it, and it's, don't make that, deter you from opening a nice bottle of wine, even if you don't think you can finish it with someone on the spot. And lastly, I think you really want to be honest with your impressions and what you're tasting, what you're feeling when you're drinking a bottle of wine, because this is how you sort of keep track of what you like, what you don't like, and how you share it with other people. Cheers.